Hey, what's going on? My name's NanoPro, and today, or actually NanoPro DJ. So we are going to show you our little thing, or whatever this video. This is the Pioneer DJ CDJ 3000. This are the CDJs. Been around since 1995. I don't remember. Well, not these. There's been models before these, like the predecessor of the 3000s or the CDJ 2000 Nexus 2. So, anyway, other than that, let's do it.
Thousands and thousands of dollars or pounds.
Oh, whoops.
Here it is, the new CDJ 3000 from Pioneer DJ. I have all the information you need to know about this long-awaited release. Welcome back, Jamie Hartley here from Crossfader, and today is an exciting day. The new CDJ 3000 has finally dropped from Pioneer DJ. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through all the things that you need to know about this new product. New features such as 8 hotkeys, touchscreen display, jog wheel display, new MPU for faster loading, higher sound quality, key syncing, touch cue, touch preview, stacked waveforms, and more. But before we get into that, let's talk about connectivity. Now, first of all, there is no CD drive anymore. So you can see that's gone. It's now a multiplayer. And how does that connectivity work? Well, we've still got the option to have a USB drive or SD card plugged in here or here with music exported from the rekordbox software. There is a USB 3 port on the back where you can connect rekordbox on your laptop to. This is a hardware unlocked device, so you don't need a paid subscription. It will unlock rekordbox. If you do want to stream, unfortunately, it is just within the rekordbox software. There is no onboard streaming in this unit, just like there is no internet or Wi-Fi. Now, I'm hoping that changes. I talk about this at the end of the video, so stick around for some thoughts around that. Moving on though, we have now a gigabit Ethernet port, so you can connect up to 6 players. You get super fast loading of tracks on players that don't have a USB plugged in and are just
Sick. So, speaking of which, there is another mixer, like you see DGM-A9. This is the feed 10, which I might do later, but not now. So, it's 6 channels, so you can connect 6 of these. And I mean, I have not seen it in person before, but for what I've seen, it's massive. So, here we go. So, let's continue playing.
linked, which is a really nice new update. You can see we've got the RCA audio out and digital audio out. As you can see, there is only one audio out, so we don't have that dual layer. I know it's something a lot of people were waiting on, so I'm just making that clear right at the start for anyone that was waiting for that feature. It looks like we've just got the one layer as it stands. Now, there's also a locking IEC port as well, which is really useful. It means there's no accidental power outages with the cable being pulled out. It locks in place, which is a really important update to this product. Some additional ways you can connect. So Serato users, I know it's going to be one of the questions. Can I connect using HID? You will be able to. Upon release, it's not available yet, but yes, it is definitely coming. Also, if you use the rekordbox app on your iPhone, you can connect that directly to the CDJs as well and play music directly from your iPhone through the CDJs using the Pro DJ link. You can also, if you've got an Ethernet port on your computer and want to use export mode of rekordbox with Pro DJ link, you can still do that as well using the link cable. So now that we've got connectivity covered, we need to dive into those all-important performance features, essential upgrades, and things that are going on under the hood. The first thing to notice on the new CDJ 3000 is this new 9-inch touch display. It's 150% brighter than the previous model, so hopefully that will help in any bright environments, daytime parties, daytime gigs and festivals. As you can see, we can touch anywhere on this display. So I've just loaded in the source, which is my USB drive, and I can toggle through artists, album, track, key, playlist, history, matching, and folder all down the left-hand side. You can scroll up and down like this, and scroll up and down through playlists. You can tap on a playlist to enter that playlist. I can scroll up and down, and now you can see we have a preview waveform, which is really useful. This is a new feature on the CDJ 3000s. If you have the 3000s linked to your DJ mixer, if you press the Q link button on the mixer, you can now take your headphones and just hold on the preview waveform, and you might be able to hear that. And it's now previewing through the headphones. And this doesn't play out of the master channel. This is just for the DJ to listen via the link queue. That's a really neat feature. Now we could scroll up and down and just load a song in. Once the song's loaded, you can see that it's got the new 3-band colored waveform. This is taken from the latest update of Rekordbox, and it's nice to see on the display here. You can scroll in and out of the waveform as standard to make it bigger and smaller. We can change that waveform color if you prefer the original one by clicking the shortcut button. And here we have some shortcuts available. We can go back to RGB, for example, or just blue. On 3-band, there is a new option with the waveform as well. We can have it either in the left or in the center. So if I put it back to the center, you'll see the playhead is here in the center. But for example, you don't need to know what's going on here in the track. You want to know what's coming. So I could press shortcut and go left. Now you'll notice it's placed over here. And now if I zoom out.
So that is pretty good thing for me. Like you don't have to see what's going on over here. You have to look what's over here. So if I have 2 or more CDJs, I would look at the end if a drop is coming or whatever, like at the end, or basically want to do a mashup without actually adding a mashup to this, or and like here's the thing. So this is a play button on with the other side, and this is a cue. Oops. I'm sorry, I like to organize things for. So if I see on my computer, because I have Rekordbox on this monitor, this one has Rekordbox, and once it goes, and ready, set, I press play, fade it in. What I would do before that is turn on the no EQs, turn the EQs on the left, so that will drop, like basically anyway, so basically like excuse me. So I don't know. But anyway, let's continue playing.
Now you can see much more clearly what is coming in the song rather than what has been. So that's a really small little update that some people might find really useful. Seeing as we're talking about customizing this display, if we go back to browse, you can tap on this button here to make this font size bigger and smaller, which is great. You can tap this button here to change the secondary column. So we could have the artist as a secondary column. And we can customize this. We could have our DJ play count so we can see our most popular tracks. Or you could just have it as default and show the entire track. Obviously, you can organize these playlists by BPM or key, and you just tap the top of the playlist column header, and you'll see it organizes it by BPM or key. We still have the track filter option. So underneath, if I hold this, I can edit the filters, and I can say I want to filter this playlist by the master player, so whatever is the master player, and a plus or minus 6% variation, and a similar key that will mix in key. Now if I go back off this and just tap track filter, you'll notice these are all the tracks now that will mix harmonically and are a close BPM to my current master player. So that's still there. Along the top of the screen, we have a few extra buttons now. So you'll notice we also have playlist and search. So if you're playing a song and you want to quickly go back to a playlist, you can tap here and go to your playlist column and look through your playlists. Or you could think, I know what song I want to play next, let's just search for it using the keyboard. So that's really neat to have those extra buttons here. Lastly, you can change the brightness of the screen via the shortcut menu. You can change the brightness directly there with the touch screen. You can change the jog LCD brightness there as well. You can change things like the quantized beat value and the
I don't know about the screen on the jog wheel. It's like if you turn up the brightness, it's like having a poor quality like device, like camera, phone, whatever. And it reminds me of that. Like, it's not that bright to me, not bright to us, but it's actually that bright to camera. Here, anyway.
The beat jump value all within this shortcut menu. Now, something really cool and new on the CDJ 3000s is the waveform and phase meter. Now there is a waveform option. What does that mean? Well, this is really cool. If I get a song playing, let's say, on the opposite side, this is now the master deck, and you can see on my next deck, it's showing the waveform from this playing deck. So it's showing player 1's waveform on player 2. And this means you can now use this waveform if you want as a visual reference when matching the tracks. That's a really cool feature. For this to work, obviously, it needs to be linked via the link cable. All the CDJs will need to be linked to show that waveform, and it will just show the master deck. So whichever you have selected as the master, you'll see it now swaps over to the opposite side. And that's a really cool feature. Another really neat new feature is the touch cue system. So if you have a DJ and you're playing back to back with a friend, you can actually preview later on in the song that they're playing so you know what drop's about to come up. For this to work, again, we just have to make sure the link cue is turned on your mixer and that it's all linked together. And then if I just hold this to the microphone, if I hold anywhere on the waveform, it starts playing that waveform from that point in the track. So I could have this track playing, I might be lining up my next song, but I just want to preview what this last drop's like. I can just skip towards the end, and the audience can't hear this, only you can hear this in the headphones. And this works on both sides. So it's like a live preview of the song, whether it's a song that's playing or the song you're mixing in, you can live preview it without having to skip through the track. And that's really useful for any DJs going back to back that they want to just check out the other DJ's song. Now, obviously on something like the DJM V10 mixer, there are 2 headphone outputs as well. And one of those headphone outputs has that link cue option. So you can preview it even with 2 separate headphones. Obviously on the DJM 900 Nexus 2, there is only the 1 headphone option. So if you've got 2 headphones plugged in, you're both going to hear the preview. So something to bear in mind. Now let's have a look at some of the performance features and the design as well, because
I need to test something. Hold on. Okay. I'm sorry. What you see when I drag it across with my stream chat from Twitch, I just want to move it. Because I'm not used to looking things on this monitor. I'm used to looking on the monitor on my right. So anyway.
A few things have moved since the previous model. Notably, there are now 8 hot cues all underneath the display here. Before we had them to the left-hand side, now they're under the display in one horizontal line. Now, ergonomically, how does that work? Well, you could have your hands like this, just bearing in mind you don't touch the jog wheel if you're going to do lots of finger drumming with the hot cues. If you're just mixing, it's very easy to just reach over and tap a hot cue. It feels really natural.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I had to take my car to the shop. It's my motor. The motor is sounding a bit off, like it's like loose. So anyway, I'll be right back. Hopefully. Okay guys, I'm back. I know it's been a while and also it's dark outside, so oh shit.
Natural. You've also got to think about if you were going crazy on the hot cues, you could, if you've got a big enough hand, rest your hand on top and hit them like this. So that can work, just depending how wide your hand can stretch, because I know a lot of DJs used to rest their hand here and hit the hot cues with their thumb. So that can almost still be achieved. The hot cues are really tactile, they're plastic buttons, and let me just set some. As you can see here, we've got 8 hot cues. If you want to turn quantize on, the quantize button is now located here, and you can change the quantize value as said, just in the shortcut menu there. To delete the hot cues, hold this call or delete button, and it's as simple as that. These are just hot cues, they are not performance pads, so they just work as standard as a hot cue. You set a point in the track and you can jump to that point, or you can set a loop and save the loop in the hot cue bank. Moving down, we have the standard in and out loop functions, and underneath that we now have a new 8-beat auto loop. So that will automatically set an 8-beat loop, and we've also got a 4-beat loop dedicated button. You'll notice it says half and 2 times underneath. If you're on 4 beats, for example, I can press it again and it will half, and I can keep halving it, or I can double it. You'll notice the auto loops come up, the beat loops come up on the display as well. So it's a touch screen. And this is a shortcut menu that I can hide or make reappear via this toggle here. And then we now have polyrhythmic loops. So these are kind of like odd numbered loops. There's a number 2, which is page 2 on the display. And if I switch to this, I can now do a 3-beat loop, for example. 3/4 of a beat, 5 beats, so you've got all these odd numbered loops. And to exit, again, just hit the exit button as standard. Underneath that, we have the beat jump controls. Now, beat jump was featured on the previous model, but this is way more tactile to have buttons rather than a touchscreen. The touchscreen is still there via the shortcut menu, so you can beat jump 4 beats left and right. You go into page 2, beat jump 64 beats, for example. However, we've now got dedicated buttons, so I can just beat jump and toggle through the song. You can do it while it's playing. Now you can see the value of the beat jump in this bottom left corner. It says beat jump 32 beats. Rather than going into the beat jump menu, to change that, what I like to use is this call button. If we hold call and then press beat jump, we can change the value. We can go up and down.
I'm sorry, this desk, like I mentioned, my other channel is wobbly. I don't know why.
8 beats, 4 beats, 2 beats, 1 beat, half beat, and go back up. So this isn't determined to what your auto loop. So if I went on to 8 beats here, it doesn't automatically switch the beat jump to 8 beats as well. They are separate features, which is something that I think is really neat. And if you've got a loop set, you can also beat jump that loop as well. So I can skip it forwards. And now you can see we're skipping the loop forwards using beat jump. As you can see, slip mode is now featured next to quantize. When I tap slip mode, the roll loops come up and I can hold the screen to loop the track, and then it will jump to where it would have been previously. We can see slip is active on the center LCD display. Hot cues will also work with slip mode on, so if I just set up a hot cue, and obviously we can pause the track, play the track, and do all the usual things that slip mode allows us to do. One of the best new features, from my opinion, is the new key shift and key syncing options. So on the touch display, we have the key shift option. This brings up a touch plus a minus, so we can shift the track up and down by semitones. And it shows you the next key that you're going to go to. I've got the Camelot notation displaying, but you can have the...
So...
Yes, Benjamin?
Anyway, I'm guessing that's... So I watched the live performance of Deadmau5. Well, it's like one of those shorts. Was it like Instagram? I don't fucking remember, but he changed the high pitch of the Ghosts and Stuff, his own song, of like a cappella, like, you know, turn around, shut it down, what the people say, climbing up, killing time, and we give you you know, I start turning high pitch, so I understand why. Anyway, I had to be right back again. Okay, I'm back.
Usual notation like E minor, A minor, that kind of thing. You can tap the middle to reset, and this would be cool for like build-ups. You could do something along those lines. If you are about to play your next track, for example, let me just start playing this one, and I go to key shift. These tracks don't currently mix in key. Now I can start scrolling through this and trying to find the right key, and you'll notice it turns green when I need to press it to get it to the right key. So I've gone down by 2 and I go down 1 more semitone, and now these two are both at 2A and will mix in key. Now there is a much easier way to do this. I can just hit the key sync dedicated button, and you'll notice it key syncs it to the closest key. Now I had to go down 3 semitones to get it to that key to match. However, I didn't try going up, and you'll notice that we've now gone to 1A. Now, one of the downsides I would say to this is that you don't know how many steps, you don't know very easily, should I say, how many steps you've taken up or down from the original key. But Pioneer have basically used the engine inside of here to try and keep it as close as possible. If I go into key shift now, you might be able to see that it's just grayed out. There's 2 bars that are grayed out, which means I've gone down by 2 semitones, I think, or up by 2 semitones. I've gone up by 2 semitones, and if I just hit master tempo or turn key sync off, you'll notice it jumps back. So if I went up 2 semitones manually, it's the same as what we just achieved. But again, like I said, it's a bit confusing as to whether you've gone up by 2 semitones, down by 2 semitones. It doesn't have a very clear display when you hit key sync as to how many semitones it's gone up or down to then reset it if you decided to reset it. So great new feature. Just be wary that you need to be careful what you're mixing together. It always tries to keep it within 1 or 2 semitones with the new processors that are inside these CDJ 3000s. Something else that's been redesigned and redeveloped is the jog wheel. Now it looks similar, however the top is all one plate, so there isn't like a separate bit of glass in the center for the display. This all feels like a nice all-in-one display across the top. It's very responsive and it's very smooth. The profile's really nice, and it definitely feels slightly different to the previous model. It feels a bit more grounded, a bit more intact in the player and the unit. And yeah, it's really responsive. You can see we've got the center display now as well. So all it does is it shows the album artwork, it shows the playhead, whether you've got vinyl mode or CDJ mode turned on or off, and whether you've got slip mode on or off, and whether you've got beat sync on or off. Now, as far as I can tell from this initial release, you can't change what's in the center display. I'd love it in the future if they added the option to have your BPM in there, or to be able to change what information is shown up in there. I know on other players we've got the mini waveform there and things, but from what I can see in the utilities, which I'm about to show you, you can't change what's displayed here as yet. Moving over to the utilities, if I just hold the menu button, we can see what's in the settings. Now, I would have thought there would be more settings upon release, but again, this is something that could be updated in the future. So we've got DJ setting, we've got all the standard stuff like your quantized beat value, beat jump values, the automatic beat jump value that you have it set on.
I love the fact that he's flipping everybody off that watching this, like going, you know, that's honestly pretty funny. And I know he's not intentionally flipping us off, or in fact never flipping anybody off at all. He's just, you know.
How the hotkeys are loaded, whether you've got hotkey color, I'm going to turn that on because it's much nicer. And then we've got things like your vinyl speed adjust, because we've just got the one knob here for touch and break. So you can have it on either touch and release, touch, or just release. You can go down, we've got the display brightness, the jog LCD brightness. We've got screensaver and touch display calibration if obviously the display starts to act a bit strange. The display indicator, we've got slip flashing, on-air display, jog ring brightness, jog ring indicator. So there's not much.
Also, this mixer. It's a predecessor of the A9, which I saw, which I watched last time. It's DGM 900 Next 2, and I'd rather be like the exact like point like on top of here, like the A9. I just love it. That's all. But it's like if I choose CDJ 2000 Next 2, then I'll choose DGM A9. But anyway.
New going on here. Again, the Pro DJ link, we can choose what number the player is. We've got the system info, and we've got some more info such as the version number and serial number, etc. So there isn't much new in the utility there and in the settings. I thought you might be able to change some of those preferences in the way that this reacts, especially things like the center display. Hopefully that's coming in the future. This leads me on to how this player has been built, and one of the biggest new features, which is the MPU. It's the microprocessor that they've put into this player. It's totally different to the previous model, and it allows for much better sound, and it allows for much faster workflow, and it allows for much quicker updates, are what Pioneer are saying. So let me just show you something. If I were to set loads of hotkeys, if I were to set some...
I'm sorry, I was just practicing my hotkeys on OBS, so...
Loads of hotkeys on this track. If I were to set some memory points, let's say... I'm going to set some memory points throughout. Now, one of the biggest things for DJs is that load time, and this is where this new MPU really shines and what it means to have a more powerful processor inside. If I go onto a different song... let me just find where I'm at. So we've got Drip Drab loaded. If I load a different song, now when I load this one back on, watch how fast it loads all of those hot cues. They're there. I'm ready to go. I can get to my memory point straight away. So it's instant. It's like using a laptop, which is amazing. And that is one of the biggest updates, I will say, is that was noticeable straight away. I used to hate having to wait for those hot cues to load on the previous models, and there you can see, even with high quality audio files, it's still super snappy and super fast to load all those hot cues. So that's a big plus from me. Now, this new MPU also means that you get much better sound quality. This is a first player where they have 96 kilohertz and 32-bit float. So what it does is it basically takes even tracks that aren't of that quality. It allows you to hear all the details within the music. So if there's subtle differences in some of the bass frequencies, if there's really atmospheric parts of the song, on a loud sound system, you're going to hear all of that detail because the CDJ is going to bring it all through from that digital file. And the last point about the new processor in there is that because it's so powerful, Pioneer DJ have said that it allows them to add more features and bring updates much easier in this model. So I'm hoping what we see here isn't going to be what we see in a year or 2 years time. It's going to get updates and get developed because, as you're already aware, this doesn't have streaming involved. It doesn't have streaming built in. You would have to plug in a laptop to the CDJs and use Recordbox 6, for example, which this is a hardware.
I would rather a laptop for the CDJs because it's a lot easier, but sometimes I would consider USBs. Like, hold on. So, like, fuck you. Like this is just an example. Like this is a the USB stick, which you can load your tracks in there in the thing. Like you can load your tracks in there. You can like basically load anything as long as I would say as long as it's not exceeded the USB space. So Anyway,
unlock device for, so you don't have to pay a subscription. You can just plug rekordbox in and it fully unlocks the software, but you'd have to stream through the rekordbox software using HID mode. Now, I'd love to see streaming added. I don't know if it's coming, but this is something that I was expecting to come on the new CDJs, and it's not built into the player. I hope what they mean by his updates can be added much easier is that they can add things like streaming in there. We've got a 100 gigabit Ethernet port on the back, which surely is going to unlock internet at some point. It's not there right now, but hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future, we get some of these updates coming. Before we move off and talk about my opinions, I just want to highlight one of my little gripes about this update. And again, I hope this can be added in a future update and changed in a future update. But the auto emergency loop on the old CDJs, if you accidentally took out a USB stick or the link connection was lost, it set a 4-beat loop as an emergency loop, and it was one of the most annoying things. Now, it looks like that is still there. I'm on the player without the USB. If I just take out the link cable, we will see it kicks in. Cannot play tracks, some player functions limited, and you can see there's a 4-beat emergency loop playing there now. And you can't do much more with that. I can't exit that loop because that's all that's stored in the player. So that's just something I wanted to show because that is one of the downsides I've found about the CDJ 3000. Now, I just want to run through some of my thoughts about this, and I'd love to open a conversation with all of you viewers about what you think about it too. So the next natural question that everyone's going to have is, how much does all of this cost? Well, it comes in dollars at $2,299 a player. We've got the conversions of the other retails for euros and pounds there as well. Now, obviously, straight away, you're going to think that is very expensive, and it is very expensive. If you want a full new CDJ 3000 setup, even with a DJM V10 or a 900 Nexus 2, you are spending a lot of money. However, you've got to bear in mind that these are not designed for the bedroom DJ. These are designed realistically for festivals, big clubs.
I have to stop him right there. Anything's possible. You can. Oh shit, what's one thing? You can plug your laptop, you can plug this PC, like for example, this. And basically it doesn't matter where you are when you have CDJs. It's just, all it matters is that you have it and you want to play with it. Well, if you get what I mean. But it's not like in a church or whatever. Because not everybody knows EDM. Like, when a proms, homecoming, courtrooming, what the fuck ever. You literally can like, if you're a DJ of any of those school events or weddings or you name it, you can play the songs that people like pop, rap, as long as it's not like excessive, hip hop, whatever. But it can also be some EDM, like famous EDM, like, Levels by Vici or No My Marshmallow. Anything. I don't know everybody knows any songs from Dead Mouse, because that's mostly my favorite DJ. So, anyway.
They're designed for some of the biggest stages around the world, and you can tell that Pioneer have built them in that way. They can't reinvent the wheel. They've got to just update and reiterate what is tried and tested with the Pioneer DJ CDJ range, because all of those artists that should be out working around in festivals around the world, hopefully when COVID comes to an end and festivals start again, when they're all working around the world, they want some familiarity. They don't want to have everything changed in front of them. It's got to be smaller iterations, because it's a tried and tested feel. It's a tried and tested workflow. So Pioneer couldn't reinvent the wheel with this.
I should ask something. What kind of USB stick is that? Yes, it's so small, I can barely tell it's there. Unfortunately, with my good eyes, I can see because there's like a gap of the lighting. But I think it's like a small USB stick. So.
And it's definitely aimed at the clubs and the venues and the festivals.
Oh, and by the way, the USB sticks can only do 2 decks. So does the sim. But if you have a laptop, it can do 4. So, that's another reason why I'd rather a laptop if I don't have a CDJs. Sorry, voice crack.
Purchasing them. It's not aimed at the home user to buy for their bedroom. Now, what I will say is, with this being released, it makes the XDJ XZ an amazing setup for at home because it really brings all of this to an all-in-one unit, and it makes much more sense for a home user or even a prosumer. The pros, however, the people that can afford to charge thousands and thousands of dollars or pounds for their gigs to go and play for an hour, then they can afford to spend the money on this kind of equipment, the equipment that they expect to see in front of them when they rock up to the club or festival as well. So that's something to bear in mind. I personally do think it is a very high price point, but I can see where Pioneer have priced this and potentially some of the reasoning for that. Now, a big part of playing on DJ equipment is the feel of it and the familiarity. Like I just said, you don't want to alienate the big artists when they're rocking up to their gigs with a total different layout. Now, everyone here at Crossfader are religious users of the CDJ range, right from
Yeah, so there are like some times when DJs are like DJing in a club or in the festival like Tomorrowland, there can be some mistakes like the mechanical malfunction or whatever. The worst thing that I think, in my opinion, is a fire. A fire in the stage, on the stage or whatever. Like for real, back in 2017, there's a stage in Tomorrowland in Spain. It got caught on fire. Like, I'll say 2/3 of the stage is burnt to ashes. Well, not way because it has like kind of like fuck, what are those called? It's something that it's like in Minecraft where you put things up and it'll be a lot easier to build. Oh fuck, what's it called? But anyway, it's like that. Like they're obviously metal, but metal can be melted too. So, but anyway.
CDJ 1000s right up to now the CDJ 3000, and we've used them all, and we've used them in real environments on a weekly basis in clubs, so we're very familiar with how they feel and the tool that it provides to us to play music. And we have all played on the CDJ 3000s here, and we all feel very much at home instantly, and they do feel amazing to play on. Granted, they might not have streaming in there. It might not have performance pads where you can have slicers and things like that. But it does have those essential things laid out really well, and it feels very natural and very great to play on. So I will say it's a lot of fun to play on them, and they feel great. Do we want more performance pads? Do we want more features loaded in there? Hopefully we get some new things coming in soon with the updates. I keep pushing for streaming. I think that's the future, definitely in the next 10 years. If we're going to wait for the CDJ 4000 in 5 or 10 years time, we need streaming already available in the
CDJ 4000. CDJ 3000 still going on right now. Like, still exists.
So I'm pushing for that. But beyond that, like I said, they feel great, and I'm really happy and comfortable playing on them, and so is everyone else in the office. So I guarantee if you are a Rekordbox USB user, You're going to get on these and feel right at home straight away because it's familiar and it's natural. I know there are going to be lots of comments, and I really want to see what everyone in the industry thinks of this brand new CDJ 3000. There hasn't been a release like this since we even started Crossfader, so this is a big thing, and we're so grateful to Pioneer for sending us this unit to do an official review on. We're obviously really pumped to play on these. We've got mixes going out as well, so make sure you check out the performances and the mixes from all of the team here at Crossfader. And I just want to say a thank you to everyone that's watched this video, that's subscribed to our channel, and I hope you stick around for more videos like this very soon.
Well then, I mean, all I can say is that CDJ is not my first thing to do, like to grab, but there can be other things like this right here, this DDJ 200, which is the predecessor of the new DDJ Flex 2, which were released last year. And the bigger version of the Flex 2 is the Flex 4, which is a successor of the DDJ 400, which is obviously like a bigger version of the DDJ 200 like I have here. And when I first got it, it's not what I was expecting. Like I was expecting a DDJ Flex 4 or excuse me, but I like he said, it's expensive. Like controllers are expensive. This is like over $160. The one thing I don't like, it has anything that I want, and like I can't like the jog wheels on this. It's not like faster, but for like CDJ 3000s, there's a knob, like a small one, you can like turn it to tough, and then was it released or something? I don't know, but it can make it easy. It can make it it'll make it lighter or make it hard. This is like, I'll say like in between. But anyway, if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get more aware of my future videos. And have a beautiful morning or night, depending where you are. And in case you haven't watched it, go to my official YouTube channel, Nanoprobe. And all you had to do is just search up Mr. Nanoprobe. There I am. So, anyway, see you in the next video. Oh, bye-bye. Also, we'll put my main YouTube channel in the description. Anyway, bye.